You're listening to Bark and Wag's 15-Minute Vet Talk. Each week, your host, Polly Requa, interviews veterinarians and individuals in the pet industry from across the nation answering pet questions. Bark and Wag podcast is produced weekly for your enjoyment, and show notes can be found at barkandwag.com under the podcast tab. That's BARKNWAG.com. Please remember to subscribe to Bark and Wag 15-Minute Vet Talk.
Thank you for listening to Bark and Wag 15-Minute Vet Talk. Bark and Wag is dedicated to protecting our dogs through advocacy, education, and supporting like-minded dog lovers by selling custom pet products. Bark and Wag is excited to announce our new partnership with a Colorado hemp farm to produce a line of CBD products for your pets. Bark and Wag has CBD pet tincture available in 300, 750, 1200, and 2400 milligrams. Bark and Wag CBD is pet safe, no THC, it's made in the USA, and is CO2 extracted. Please check out Bark and Wag's website, barkandwag.com. That is BARK, to see our line of CBD and awesome merchandise. We love pooch ideas for podcasts and merchandise, so anytime send an email to Polly at barkandwag.com with your suggestions.
Welcome to Bark and Wag 15-Minute Vet Talk. I'm your host, Polly Requa. Today we're talking to Lisa Blake, author of How to Love Your Pug. Welcome, Lisa. It's great to have you on the show.
Thanks, Polly. It's great to be here. So excited.
Well, as you probably know, we have a pug. We're nuts about pugs. Bark and Wag has two models. One is a black lab and one is a pug. So Chuck the Pug is super excited to have you on the podcast today. So tell us about your new book.
Yeah, so it's a children's book. It's a picture book, and it began as a silly story that my son and I have a 5-year-old son named Braxton, and we made it up last year just telling stories and being silly during the early days of quarantine and, spending a lot more time together in the house. And so the book came out of us together. We wrote it as How to Love Your Pug, and it's the first book in a series now. It's launched on Valentine's Day this year, and it's a book where we take our young readers along on a journey with a playful pug, where we explore the pug's special nuances and quirks and talk about how they love to cuddle and have treats and give them extra time to, sniff everything in the park and how they snore and just like all the special, silly things about pugs that we love. And it's called, How to Love Your Pug, 10 Simple Rules for Loving Your Pug with All of Your Mighty Heart. And the illustrator, her name is Nadine Rebrovic, and she's an amazing pet artist who does custom pet portraits for people who also are obsessed with their dogs. So she and I have teamed up to we created this children's book series, the How to Love Your Pet series, and it's all about caring for your pets and spoiling your pug.
That is awesome. And so what do you foresee in the future for different book titles?
Yeah. So right now we're working on How to Love Your Rescue Pup, which I think is really fun because there were so many,
awesome.
So many dogs were rescued, last year in 2020, and which is amazing. It makes our hearts melt. And so there's a fun story to tell there about rescue dogs and their special needs and special ways to love them. So I'm having a lot of fun writing that right now. And then, of course, we've gotten a lot of feedback. Like, you definitely need to write How to Love your Basset and your Husky and your Pit Bull. So this series could go on and on. I'm really excited to dig in and research and spend some time with all of these different breeds.
Well, you also could take it on How to Love Your Pet. So you could, do a ferret or a mouse. And give tips to children on what you do when you want a mouse.
Right. And how to talk your parents into letting you get one.
Yeah. So tell us about your pug. How old is your pug?
Oh, his name's Mojo Disco Baggins, and he is 12. He has a big name and a big heart. He's 12. He's black, but really he's more gray now. But we got Mojo from a friend of a friend in Denver who had him and his brother Ollie, and they didn't get along very well. So she needed someone to take Mojo. He was only 8 months at the time. He was a tiny little guy. And so we adopted him, and I moved him from Denver to the mountains, and everybody said, oh, he'll never make it up there. Pugs can't breathe in the mountains. And he was the biggest rafting, mountain climbing, trail running dog. Pug. I mean, people would stop in amazement on the trail and say, oh my God, is that a pug? Look at him go, So he just loves it. He's a mountain dog. And, he's 12 now. So his mountain climbing days have kind of mellowed out, but he definitely wants to chill out on the paddleboard on the lake and on the raft and on the rivers. So he's a big camping dog now. But yeah, his name's Mojo, and we just love him to pieces.
Oh, that's a riot. Yeah, we Chuck the Pug is also a big mountain dog, and hiking, I actually bought a canine pack because we also have a lab, so the lab can go forever. And so anyway, we're all ready now for the spring and summer. So
nice.
Yeah, they are just great. I have pictures of Chuck on my back, like just hanging out, surveying the area. Because his poor little legs get so tired on trails. So, well, that's a riot.
Yeah.
So tell us where we can find the book.
Yeah. So How to Love Your Pug is currently at howtoloveyourpet.com online. And then we are also in Next Page Books in Frisco, Colorado. And we are online on all the major retailers like Amazon and Barnes & Noble as well. But we're really focused on getting our books in mom and pop independent bookstores around Colorado and beyond.
That's great. And I will put it on Bark and Wag. So as we promote different products on our website, we will promote How to Love Your Pug because we love pugs.
Yeah, thanks, Polly. That's wonderful.
And I guess the other question I had are, what tips can you give to aspiring authors?
Sure. I think, if as an author, just reading and writing as much as you can, write every day. Keep at it and sharpen your practice. Even if you're thinking, oh, I have this beautiful idea for a book, but I'm not a writer. I hear that a lot. I'm not a writer. I can't write. I wish I could write, but you can. Anybody can write. Anybody can create. So, just sit down with that idea. And if it sparks joy in you, write it down, write the story, write the book. If it turns into a book, and share it with anyone and everyone who will listen. Just share it with the world and be proud of your creation. And then, if you're able to share your words and connect with one person or share a story about your dog and a few people can relate and you make them smile or cry, then that's the reward. You're a writer.
And how did you connect with your illustrator? If people want to do kind of a picture book, how do you find an illustrator?
Yeah. So I wrote the book and the idea came out, and it was all on paper and I'm like, we should publish this book. And so I was on the hunt for an illustrator and I came across Nadine's Custom Pet Portraits on Instagram. And she's actually an old friend of mine. We worked together in Denver at a publishing company. So that just kind of came together serendipitously. And I reached out and we began working together and it all unfolded from there. But yeah, there are tons of talented illustrators out there looking for authors to team up with. So I say just start looking and reach out to everyone you know, and it will all come together.
Oh, that's fabulous. Well, we certainly appreciate you being on the show today, and we look forward to having you back.
Yes, thank you so much. This is so exciting. Mojo's going to love listening to this and love connecting with all the other pug lovers in the world. So thank you.
Well, thank you very much, and best of luck on all your new endeavors.
Thanks so much, Polly.
Thank you for listening to Bark and Wag's 15-Minute Vet Talk. If you like what you just heard, we hope you'll pass along our web address, www.barkandwag.com, to your friends and other pet owners. Have a pressing question for a veterinarian? Ask your question at barkandwag.com under the podcast tab. This has been a KFR production. Join us next time for another edition of Bark and Wag's 15-Minute Vet Talk.